Hi everybody and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you another one of my favorite Spanish recipes. Today we're going to be making a delicious Paella Valenciana. Let's look at the ingredients that we're going to need. Okay, first of all I'm going to start prepping some of my veggies. I've got my runner beans here which I've washed, and all I'm going to do is cut the tops, well the edges off basically, from both sides, and then you want to de-string them. They've got this little chewy string here on the edge, so using a peeler you can just go along the edge and this will get rid of it. That's it, very easy. And then after I do that I'm gonna just chop them into bite-sized pieces. And next I have pepper, which I'm just gonna slice so very thinly, so you get little strips kind of like this. And I'm also gonna peel my garlic. Okay, for one last thing, I have some tomatoes here that I'm going to chop and shred in. This is the same thing that we did for our meatballs with Spanish sauce. If you haven't checked that video out yet, click the card up here. By doing it this way, all of your tomato goes inside the shredder and you're left with just the skin, which we don't want. I'm all prepped, so let me clean everything up, set up my hob, and we can start cooking. The first step in cooking our paella is to toast our saffron. Typically saffron from Spain is already toasted, but it's quite expensive. This one was still a little bit expensive, but I'm gonna toast it myself. So I just put it in some tin foil and I'm gonna wrap it up in like a little parcel, like so. And I'm gonna toast it for about 10 seconds on a medium heat. This is gonna intensify the flavor and it's gonna make it so much more fragrant. You only want 10 seconds or so. You don't want to burn it. And when you're done, just take it out and put it to the side until we're ready to use it. Next, on a medium to high heat, I'm gonna put in some olive oil and I'm gonna put in a generous pinch of salt. Okay, and now that my oil's come to temperature, I'm gonna go in with my meat. I have some chicken on the bone here and also have some rabbit. If you don't like rabbit, you could do all chicken as well. I don't cook with rabbit a lot, but I think in this recipe it is very, very tasty, so I'm gonna add it in. We want to get a nice browning on our meat and we want it to get caramelized, so the heat is quite high. So I'm gonna leave it for a couple of minutes before I start moving it around. The rabbit will cook faster than the chicken, so I've moved it a little bit to the edges, but I'm still not really touching the meat a lot. Alright, I've saved my pieces of meat and they're looking nice and brown now. I have some bits of rabbit that aren't on the bone, so I'm gonna add them in now because they won't take as long to cook. And again, put them around the edges where there's less heat. We just need another couple of minutes and then we can move on. There's so much noise in here, but that's because there's magic happening in my pan. The meat is getting nice and brown. We're almost there. Again, I emphasize try not to move it too much. You don't want juices to start being released. We want caramelization. Okay, the meat is all brown now, so I'm gonna go in with some Pimentón Dulce or paprika. About 2 teaspoons. And give it all a good stir. Toast the paprika for a few seconds, but only a few seconds because it burns very quickly. At this point I can also go in with my beans. And I can also go in with my butter beans. Everything's starting to come together. Paella originates from a region of Spain in the southeast called Valencia. And of course, people from their region are very passionate about their food and very passionate about their paella. So my recipe is not 100% traditional as per usual, but it gives you such delicious flavor. It's how I've made it for years. It's so good. Everything so far is pretty traditional though, so we're doing good. I'm gonna crush in here some garlic. Stir it through a little bit as well. And next I'm gonna go in with my tomatoes. My tomatoes were super juicy, so I'm only gonna use about half. Yeah, that should do me fine. Just mix it through. There is beautiful things happening in this pan. I can't wait. Okay, at this point I wanna go in with my stock. My stock is starting to bubble now again, so we can go in and add the saffron. But already the smell in the kitchen is unreal. I cannot wait to eat this. Of course, the most important ingredient in this recipe is the saffron. So I'm just gonna sprinkle this in, and you can crush it a bit between your fingers as you're sprinkling in to release a lot of the aroma as well. But do give it a stir. You wanna make sure that the saffron gets to everywhere. It's gonna infuse this delicious floral and earthy taste, and it's gonna give us also that signature yellow color. Now, I am about to say something very controversial. In a pinch, I have substituted saffron with turmeric. The flavor will be similar because of that earthiness of the turmeric, and you will get the color as well. It's not gonna be 100% the same, but if, as I said, if you're really stuck, you could use it. Don't come for me in the comments. That is not how I normally do it. Next, we go in with the rice. It's important that you use the right kind of rice. There's special paella rice, but if you don't have it, you can use some short grain rice. Don't use basmati, it won't give you the same result. And just like spread your rice all over your pan. I have seen that some places do kind of like a cross, but I think that's very just for the tourists. I'm gonna stir my rice now very quickly, just to distribute the rice across the pan. But after that, don't touch it. You don't want to release any of the starches or anything like that. This is your last chance to make sure that everything's well combined. Traditionally also, obviously this would be made in a paella pan. Because I have an induction hob, I couldn't really use one because they tend to be quite large, so it'd be much bigger than the heating element in my hob, so it's just not going to work. But any pan, any kind of wide and shallow pan will do you fine. Okay, I'm happy with that. So I'm just gonna go in with some peppers, and this is really just for decoration, so you can arrange them nicely. Or if you really like peppers, just throw them all in. I have some rosemary here as well, which I'm gonna add. Just a few sprigs. These are from my garden. And now that everything is in, I'm just gonna let it bubble away for 10 minutes on a high heat. Then reduce the heat down and cook it for another 5, 7, maybe 8 minutes until the water has evaporated or been absorbed and we have the perfect fluffy rice. Okay, the first 10 minutes have passed, so I've reduced my heat down to kind of like a low to medium, but you can already see how most of the water has evaporated. We can see a lot of the rice now, and it looks nice and plump, which is great. We're gonna let it go now for another, I'll say 5 minutes first, and then we'll take a look and assess. But it's just smelling fantastic. It looks so gorgeous. Okay, it's been another 5 minutes, and again, most of the water has now gone. But you can actually kind of hear the sound. You can hear how the paella is still bubbling underneath. What we want to hear is more of the sizzling. That means that all of the water would then be evaporated and we'll start getting this caramelized bottom, which is called socarrat, which is a very important part of the paella. What I'm going to do is cover it with some tin foil and let it go for another couple of minutes. The tin foil will kind of retain the steam as well and kind of help everything to cook and soften up nicely. Okay, the sound literally just changed. I no longer hear bubbling, now I hear more of kind of like a sizzling, or it's hard to describe, but I'm gonna put my microphone up to it to see if you can hear it. So that means that we're almost there. I'm still gonna cover it though. Okay, I'm gonna take off the tin foil and see what it's looking like now. It's been just gone 5 minutes. I mean, it looks fantastic, and again, I can hear that sizzle now. Okay, it's pretty much done now, but I've covered it back up because I'm gonna let it rest for 5 minutes before finally digging into it. I'm so excited. Okay, we've done more than enough waiting. Let's have a look. It looks fantastic. I just got that whiff. Oh my god, it smells so delicious. The rice is looking like it's perfectly cooked. Can't wait to eat it. I cannot get over how beautiful my paella looks, but I'm gonna have to dig into it. Typically, this would come to the table in the pan and then everybody just takes a little bit and puts it onto the plate, so that's what I'm gonna do. Just make sure you get a bit of everything. And you see these burnt bits at the bottom? That's the socarrat. That's the most tasty bit. Everybody wants a little bit of that. I also like to have mine with a little squeeze of lemon, and I'm gonna give it a taste. It is so good. Oh my god, it's beautiful. The saffron flavor totally comes through. It's so kind of like floral and earthy. The rice is also perfectly cooked. It's divine. I'm gonna try a bit of the meat. I have some chicken here, which is like so nice and soft. I do want to try and find some rabbit as well though. And I have a big piece right here. It is so good. Everything about this is just perfect. If you want to watch me eat, I can just sit here or stand here and eat the whole thing. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Paella is one of Spain's most famous dishes. It is in fact Spain's national dish. My version isn't 100% traditional because of course I like to do some modifications. Every family has their own recipe. My one is how I love to have it. It is perfection. Make sure you give it a try. You're not going to regret it. If you like this video, make sure you give it a big like and leave me a comment below what you thought of the recipe. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming delicious Spanish recipes. If you want to try the recipe and post it on Instagram, be sure that you tag me. I will leave my Instagram handle down below. With that, I leave you for this video and enjoy.